it's a beacon of hope, you know, to see a business, to see us, to see people, to see for our community, to see people that they know succeed in this way, I think is a beacon of hope of what's to come. We faced a real tough year, you know what I'm saying? A lot of loss, you know, even from our perspective, a lot of loss. And so I think that coming into this next phase of life and coming into this next journey is good to kind of kick that off with this success. And hopefully, you know, I guess my hope is that people are inspired by this, inspired to do their own thing, inspired to you know, drop their own businesses and continue with their own hustle. The reason we started Communion because there was definitely a need, like there was a need for catering, there was a need for a space that embodied our culture as well. You know, with all the changes that were happening in Seattle, I think that there's definitely a need, specifically in the CD, where a place where we could feel at home, a place where we could come and see the homies and see people that we knew and things like that, and you know, and engage in our own culture, you know, by us, you know, from us, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that is why we came with Communion and felt the need to open Communion.
Every now and again, you get to help a business succeed financially. At the CDF, we do that all the time. Like, it's every single relationship, every single transaction, every single conversation we have with clients, it happens.
Whether we're talking about the lending services, I feel as if they're always checking up on us. We had our first loan, which was for that brown girl, and bruh, that helped us get the hummus in the store. So at the time, we were doing only hummus, and we utilized that money to purchase the equipment and the packaging and the inventory to go to get into stores. So we rose and grew up into about 26 stores locally, and yeah, man, that was a good time. Like, we really felt very accomplished.
RVCDF is different in numerous ways, I would say. The first way we differentiate ourselves is that we're not a bank, which probably means we don't have depositors' money, so we're able to take more risk than a bank. Number two, the way we're different is our interest rates are marketable because we lend to so-called high-risk loans, even though we have a very low default rate. Our interest rates are very marketable to the bank and very marketable to other CDFIs across the country.
One thing that my mom and partner, Chef Christy, always says is that access to funding was why the first iteration of that brown girl failed. So to have that access to funding this time was invaluable and allowed us to really realize the dreams that we had. So again, that means that we are employing almost 20 people right now. Mostly of color, and actually probably like 90% of color, and mostly from Seattle.
Yeah, so when a small business like Communion gets funded, obviously a new business shows up in the neighborhood, creates activity. Other businesses tend to follow, and creates even more opportunity and activity in that community. It creates a pride of ownership, a pride of community. It creates jobs. People then become more independent financially, and they move on to their careers. Additional businesses come in, and it starts becoming exponential. And then before you know it, you have a thriving community that really contributes to the overall health of the city. So we have a responsibility as a community development fund to fund these businesses that do that put in the hard work and put in the long hours and the sacrifices. Those are things that we strive to do.
What I like about the CDF is, number one, the commitment of their board members and staff. They go out and talk to customers to really sort of put their skin in the game to make sure they succeed. We all know that small businesses are one of the most critical components of a great, vibrant society. And as we think about our post-COVID recovery, we're going to have to double down on our efforts to make sure these businesses not only survive, but they thrive. That's where the Rainier Valley Community Development Fund comes into play. Committed staff, committed board members, tenacity in terms of making sure things happen.
If people knew the true impact that we've been doing behind the scenes for so many years, we would be able to, one, replicate our model. We've been recognized as having the true model for economic development in terms of financing for Black-owned businesses, businesses of color. But our issue is that we need to expand to be able to serve more of those businesses. When you're working with businesses and the type of clients that we have, you need people that are representative of those communities to serve those communities. Because the fact of the matter is, if you don't understand the story, the struggle, and the creativity needed to serve a particular niche and demographic, you won't be able to properly serve us.
I believe that one of the key values of the Rainier Valley Community Development Fund is to strengthen and promote justice. That is something that I am very passionate about. I think, growing up in Seattle, I've saw a lot of gentrification. I've saw small businesses pushed out further and further. And I think that when you are able to help and service these businesses and create equal economic opportunity, I think that you help them create not only generational wealth, but also they become self-sustainable. When
our community needs the most support, we have to step up and be able to provide that. And when you look around, that's just not being done. And it is incumbent upon us to be the change that we want to see. And that starts with holding the positions of leadership and being at the decision-making table. And that's what we did last year when we transformed our board and we brought in a new board, and we are now ready to commission our strategic plan, which we will get that done according to the strategies that we put in place.